Hey, good morning, church. It's good to be back with you this morning as we continue our devotional in the book of James. Hey, James causes us to ask this question, what is true wisdom? And he asks, who is truly wise? Now, may I ask this question as we start our conversation this morning with this. Can you have wisdom or true wisdom and not be a Christian? Well, James is arguing, no, you couldn't have true wisdom, but could you have wisdom? Could you make wise decisions? Sure, absolutely you could, depending on how we define that. Google defines wisdom by saying this, that wisdom is the quality of having experience and knowledge and good judgment. It's to take everything that you've gone through in life and to make the right decision or judgment based on that. It's the idea, Google continues on, of recognizing that wisdom is the soundness of the action. Notice that, the soundness of the action based on experience, knowledge, and sound judgment. It's saying that not only is wisdom something the way you make a decision because of all these things, rather wisdom is the decision, the soundness of that decision. It's an action being done. But then Google goes even further and says it this way, that wisdom is born out of the knowledge and principles that are developed in the society and age. Now, if that is what wisdom is, and it's born out of society and principles that are taught and the knowledge that is taught within society, we would all look around as Christians and we'd look into our society and we'd look into our culture and we'd go, hey, there are some things that they would claim to be wise, thoughts and actions that we would say, oh, those aren't wise. And the other is true. The other way around is true. All the while we're saying that about the society and world, they're then saying the same thing about us. What Christians think and believe are not wise either. And so this is what James is trying to do. He's trying to create this contrast and say that, hey, the way that Christians think and the way that, or the way of Christian wisdom, the way of worldly wisdom is different. That they are driven and coming out of a different vein. And so what is at the very root of a worldly wisdom is not at the very root of Christian wisdom. And James says in this text of chapter 3, verse 13 through 18, he says that worldly wisdom comes from envy and selfish ambition that is rooted deep within. Right? He's saying that the worldly wisdom is self-seeking. It makes decisions based on how it will benefit oneself without consideration of others. But true wisdom, James says, Christian wisdom is from above. It's given by the Father through the Spirit. It is others-centered. It is pure and peace-loving and gentle and full of mercy and good fruits, unwavering, without pretense. It is the evidence in the life of those who sow peace. That is, that it is in its wholeness and contentment and compassion toward others. So when we talk about wisdom, we ask ourselves, what is driving or what is the very root of the action that we are doing? So if we're going to make a wise decision, what is driving the wise decision? Now let's examine a couple of these decisions and see how hard it would be to make some answers here. So let's do this. So should you take the promotion and the job raise that pays you more but causes you to be away from your family more? In a worldly way, we'd say, yeah, absolutely. You make more money. That's better off. Your family's better off. But when it's coming from a true wisdom, then you have to consider the others first. Well, maybe the best thing for your family is not to be away from them more. Yet, it may be God's very answer to your prayers that you have an increase in income. So what is the driving force of that decision? Should you put more money into your retirement account, or should you be more generous? Should you homeschool or put your kids in private school or public school? Right? There are several decisions that we have to make in life. And you can make one or the other and the answer would be correct. But what is driving the action? What is the very thing driving? And so James is causing us to ask this question, that true wisdom is not driven by envy and selfish ambition. True wisdom is driven by other-centeredness. It is to put others first, to think about someone else before yourself. So how is it and what is it that's driving our decisions today? And remember, church, James tells us in James 1:5 that if any of you lacks wisdom, then he should ask God, because he's a generous and gracious God. Hey, church, something to ponder over today. We love you. We're praying for you. We'll see you in the morning.